So concerned, shaking your fist at any people out there right now that seem to be not holding up the balance scale of justice. Look to you. Don't be throwing stones just yet. Take the plank out of your eye, for heaven's sake. It also has to do with seeing both sides of a situation. And certainly in the United States of America, many people are very challenged to see both sides of a situation. And when you no longer wish to see both sides of a situation, put the entire situation down and simply focus on the real grounded reality within you. That's the core of you. You're not made up of situations or other people's situations. You're not made up of anything that is transitory. Whatever is transitory is not real. So why give it all that much energy? So look at your own sense of impartiality this month. And of course, it's exacerbated for those of you who were born under the sign of Libra. Libra is what we call a cardinal sign. It means it is packed with power. So you that are Libra have, even if you will, a greater responsibility and opportunity to hold those scales of balance in perfect alignment for all of the other 11 signs that are not Libra. Do your real work. Your job also this month is to maintain inner poise and balance. Now that goes to, of course, Libra is the first line of March, those that are Libra. But those of you who aren't, it's your obligation too, to remain poised and balanced. And we have an interesting situation that I'll be touching on in a few moments in Florida right now that any of you east of the Mississippi are at least aware of. We're aware of something called a Hurricane Matthew. And this is demanding that we stay poised and balanced. In the cycle of Libra, you can help restore your balance or others in relationships that have become unbalanced. So it's a restoration time as well. And it's not a pretty thing when you actually own and honor perhaps the delicate scales have been tipped out of balance. That's never a pretty thing, but once you own it, it absolutely helps set the scales back in balance. So on the upside, because you're probably thinking, wow, is there nothing else better to do? Yep, you can certainly enhance beauty. You gals, would you please iron some of your clothing? Throw out things that are just inappropriate for you anymore. Wear some of your jewelry. It's important. I came into the radio station today honoring that. A lot of jewelry. Because it honors beauty. And incidentally, some jewelry actually keeps you balanced. And there'll be shows on that. I want to share that with you. What is the jewelry that can really keep you perfectly balanced? And, well, just so that you're not all crazy until I actually give the show, the one thing that will keep it more balanced than anything is a diamond. So it really is true. Diamonds are a girl's best friend, but esoterically speaking, and isn't it interesting that a diamond is given for an engagement ring? And it's really subliminally to help keep the balance of the love in the relationship. It's also a cycle to honor peace. Now, you can't honor anything that's not first alive and cooking in you. So push your peace buttons, get back to the peace that is very much in there. It would have to be in there because it's encoded in that reality that runs down the center of you. Yesterday, of course, began the cycle in Judaism of a very intense period here. It's a cycle of forgiveness. Yesterday was Rosh Hashanah, their Happy New Year. So happy new beginnings to one and all, because we all feel that frequency. And it goes right on up through Yom Kippur, the saddest cycle. So I never quite understood, because I haven't studied it in depth, why they have the sad after the happy new beginning. Someday I'll get that answer. So may this revolutionary cycle, where peoples of religion, race, and belief system, harmony and balance are restored for the enrichment of humankind, may this actually be fostered within you so you become a carrier of it. You know, there was a wonderful song a number of years ago, "Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me." Well, I got to take it one step farther. You can't have peace on earth until it begins with you. So it's not a let it, it's do it, become it, be it. Both yesterday and today, now I'm flipping a little bit. So that was all where the sun is. So the sun is in Libra right on through all of the Jewish holidays, which speaks of finding that peace and balance and becoming it. Now, yesterday, the moon moved into Scorpio. So the moon actually moves very quickly. That's why I don't focus on it too much in these talks. The moon moves really about every 2.5 days into the next sign, which is why you feel change so frequently. It's through the lunar energy. But yesterday and today, with the moon in Scorpio, watch your words. They can be way too sharp. They can hurt someone. And they can come right back to bite you and haunt you as the days wear on. So just a little heads up there, and caution with watch your mouth. You know, say it with conscious awareness, whatever it is you have to say. And let's see. Along the lines of enhancing beauty under the whole element of Libra, for those listeners who have studied with me over the years, this is your first heads up in the beauty department. Lakshmi comes on October 29th this year. And some of you are thinking, who the heck is Lakshmi, and what has it got to do with me? Well, Lakshmi is, first of all, she's a power energy, if you will. She's a nexus or a source of pure, raw access. And what you access through that energy is everything that's beautiful, everything that has any intention of growing and blossoming. For example, a new business. And she is, of course, well known in much of the world, except the United States, for her access to wealth in all aspects. So, I'll be talking more about Lakshmi in the next couple of weeks. Mars, at this time, Mars is pushy, and it's challenging in its aspect on tomorrow, actually, and Mars brings a rush of energy, and it could lead you to overspending, overextending yourself, and promising more than you can deliver, and taking fears to a very heightened position. So you want to be careful tomorrow of being overly confident and not using good judgment. And it's also not the day to get all fired up. There's many days this week where you can feel you need to get all fired up about something. In Florida, the people may get all fired up about a potential storm. Pluto's going to be in Capricorn for what would seem like forever. But in this case, what I really want to direct this week is it brings too much force to the table. Too much force could possibly exacerbate the storm coming to we who are in this pocket. Pluto also reminds you might does not make right, ever. So don't be throwing your weight around this week. I don't care if you're a teeny tiny person with a big mouth. Don't do that. It could get you in a lot of hot water. And it's simply a sign of your inflated attachment to your own ego. So let it go. Check your ego at the door from here on, ever, but particularly this week. So this month is also the time for effective communication that can lead to long-term peaceful solutions or healthy solutions. And it's interesting, my wonderful owner of this station, Jeff, was sharing with me today that he spoke to a group of teens earlier in the morning. And something occurred where he could actually see the effect of his good communication and its potential to lead to something long-term with a child that he had touched last week. And today, I actually believe from what he shared that he touched someone else again. And if we sow a seed, who do we believe us to be that we're not understanding that seed may have taken root, and 10 years from now, the young man whose life he touched this morning, that child makes a decision based on a seed that was sown this morning that expands his consciousness and brings more peace to his life. So look to the smallest opportunities to be in a good space for peaceful solutions or uplifting solutions or unifying solutions, whatever you want to call them. It's kind of boils down to all one and the same thing. And it's the fact that open your heart. Let your judgments go. Your judgments and your opinions mean nothing. They're too transitory. And you angst over them and you hang on them and you hurt others with them. And I'm like, why? It's not the real you. Let it go. So that's all I'm going to give you about Western astrology. So I'm going to move a bit here to your Chinese astrology because something very interesting happens this week in that sense as well. I love Chinese astrology. I think I might love it even more than Western astrology because I've learned the foibles in Western astrology. And Chinese astrology gives you, almost a clearer, maybe a bit broader vision of things, but very clear. So for the last 2 months, actually, we've been in what Chinese know to reckon with as the season of autumn. They really call it the metal cycle. And the metal cycle brings up respiratory illnesses. It brings up overthink. It brings up worry. It brings up grief. It brings up sorrow. But it's a particularly interesting facet because it deals with your lungs and your capacity to breathe and really understand that divine breath, the one breath, is the only breath. And I know now that many, many people suffer from asthma and lung-related diseases. And even allergies have become rampant. Well, some of that, unfortunately, is due to the vaccinations that you've been given along the way, because those have destroyed the immune system in many, many, many cases. So then the fallout, of course, is learning about the sacred breath, and the fallout has to do with perhaps lungs that don't work at full capacity, but they will when you start adjusting the set of your inner sails to remember you're one with divine breath. And this week, we actually step into the 3rd month of this yang metal cycle that we've been in, and we step into what is called Dog Month, the month of the dog, on Friday, October 7th. And it's a pretty powerful cycle in this respect. Every month, not only is it a dog month, someone like me would question, tell me more, Well, it's a yang earth dog cycle.